Good day, Ruskin enjoyers. It's the 27th of August, it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and I have a bit of a story to tell you. I've been taking a trip down memory lane looking at some old videos, and I realised there's an interesting bit of knowledge to pass on to you, a certain pattern. See, quite a lot of you recently might have been looking at the likes of the Abyss collection. Abyss Tier 3 more specifically, because somewhat recently we did see the arrival of the Abyss Tier 2. This appeared in the workshop about 2 weeks ago, more specifically the 14th of August 2023, and when loads of people saw this being submitted to the workshop, a lot of people thought, you know what, I reckon that Tier 2 armour is going to have a very good chance of being accepted. I'm going to go buy out some Tier 3 armour, because of course, what happens when we see a new core piece being accepted? The pre-existing core pieces will spike in demand and spike in price. So loads of people jumping in early, thinking this was going to be accepted, and this would, go up in price very nicely. But unfortunately, that hasn't happened. We've had 2 rust doors since this was submitted, and we still haven't seen it being accepted. And now people are getting a fair bit worried. People are thinking, you know what? I don't think it's going to happen now, and they started unloading their stock. And they're selling to the buy orders, the highest buy orders to be specific, and the prices are starting to go down. Well, in this video, I'm going to teach you about a certain pattern where once it's all explained, by the end of this, you're going to feel a whole lot more reassured. You're no longer going to feel unsettled with the likes of the Abyss Tier 2. So, shall we, go ahead and get started? Right. So, last year, quite literally last year, in August of 2022, I was keeping track of the likes of the Skullkiller collection. See, I was doing a series of videos where I was keeping track of the progression of a collection, and, if there was an opportunity to point out there's potential, I made a video. If there was an opportunity to talk about potential problems, there was a video, such as, just being cautious about the amount of sales, oversaturation, you get the idea. Now, anyway, as I was looking at these, I remembered this specific video right here, and, well, it's got me remembering a very silly little story, and that would be about the likes of the Black Gold Tier 2. So let's just quickly hop back over to here, and let's go take a look at the likes of the Black Gold Tier 2. As you can see here, the workshop page, this was submitted on the 29th of August 2022. So quite literally, on that day, I made this video, because on that specific day, I was anticipating the eventual completion of the likes of both Skullkiller collection and Black Gold collection. Both of them just needed their Tier 2 armour. Lo and behold, by coincidence, both of them appeared around the same time. Fair enough, that's fine. This video is just basically talking about anticipating the arrival of both of them. We could invest into both of them. We could make profits if we invested towards both of them. Makes sense? Perfect. Right. So, August 29, the next rust door would of course be September time. Guess what was accepted? Was it Skullkiller? Was it Black Gold? About that, it was JPEG. Yeah, we were very confused. We were very confused back then. We had no idea that this was going to happen, but hey, it happened. So that actually was the first core piece for the JPEG collection, which of course now is actually complete, so that's a bit goofy. Anyway, we were, a little bit, damn. Oh well, maybe next week. So next week rolls in, and what happens? Well, Skullkiller Tier 2 is accepted. Fair enough, Skullkiller happens to have beaten Black Gold Tier 2. Wasn't the end of the world. We'll surely see Black Gold at a later date. Now, what actually happened was we had complete the sets, and complete the sets usually has 2 weeks. Now, a lot of us weren't really that concerned. Number one, back then I thought, you know what, maybe Black Gold Tier 2 could potentially appear in complete the sets. It would be completing a set, quite literally, because we only needed the Tier 2 armour. So, let's just quickly hop over to here. If you've seen this video before, this is Micro's hypothesis time frame for Rust Workshop submissions. Now, in this video, this just kind of quickly explains, fairly quickly, it explains how when a skin is submitted to the workshop, how long does it potentially have for it to potentially be accepted? Well, there's a special type of rule in which, by default, as you can see here, you might notice by the thumbnail, there's usually a 3-week time period. But if there happens to be some sort of special event, some sort of special rust door, whether it's the likes of holiday rust doors like Easter or Halloween or Christmas, or complete the sets, well, it's going to get extended because that special event will probably be sandwiched in between its time frame. So, for example, as we might notice, we go back over to here, it's been 2 rust doors. There potentially could have been the acceptance of the Black Gold Tier 2 in the 3rd week. That would have been as a late pick. However, because we had 2 complete the sets, it likely would have happened the week after. But as I said, back then we thought Black Gold Tier 2 was potentially going to be accepted and complete the sets. Guess what? That didn't happen. That did not happen. Now, the first week was mostly skins that were submitted a very long time ago, but yeah, it didn't appear here. But hey, I was still feeling fairly positive that we're going to see it in the second week. So second week rolls in for complete the sets. I still don't see it. Even though a lot of these skins here, some of them were fairly, recent in terms of submission, yeah, no Black Gold Tier 2. I was a little bit, disheartened, but, I was still hoping. I thought things were still going to work out quite all right. So now we're going to leave complete the sets. And do we see Black Gold Tier 2? No. We were very, very depressed. We thought, oh no. And then at this point, we were kind of like expecting that we'll probably see a Black Gold Tier 2 version 2 at some point. But, pause, right? Things were a little bit odd. If you look at this roster, more specifically, if you look at the dates of when these skins were submitted, you might notice something. These two skins right here, well, this was submitted 3 months before this roster. And this one right here was submitted 4 months before this roster. These two skins were like really old. These two skins should have been like complete the sets. And this is the pattern that I'm now going to introduce you to. Post complete the sets runoff, or we could just call it complete the sets runoff. The rustors that happen after complete the sets seem to have some skins that, of course, were originally submitted a long time ago. Basically, like an excess amount from complete the sets. So this was the first rustor after complete the sets, and as you can see, all of these skins were fairly recent in terms of submissions. These were extra late. So what happened with the next week? Did we see Black Gold Tier 2? Well, no, we didn't, but we still saw that same pattern. We saw the Venomous LR300, which was submitted 5 months before this roster, and then we saw this Elite Crate AR, which was submitted almost 2 years before. That was weird. In fact, just a side note here, this actually reinvigorated the Elite Crate collection, and Odyssey, yeah, he originally submitted this Elite Crate SAR. That was accepted back in 2020. And then randomly this was accepted 2 years later almost, even though he submitted it like a week after this. So him seeing this, he thought, all right, I guess I'll go make some more skins. And then he had his MP5 accepted, his Tier 3 accepted, his hoodie and pants accepted, all because this was randomly accepted one day. We never got that Tier 2. Oh. But anyway, let's not focus too much on that. The main point is, the rustors, after complete the sets, have this runoff. And we still see some skins that, of course, were from a long time ago. These skins could have been a part of complete the sets, but they appeared in the rustors afterwards. So, complete the sets runoff. And finally, 3 weeks after complete the sets ended, the third rustor after complete the sets, we finally got Black Gold Tier 2. And potentially, this could have been the candidate as the random skin that was from a long time ago. We also had Quarantine Soul, which was like 7 months before. But as you can see here, this took 6 weeks to be accepted. Facepunch really loves to play over our hearts and give us stress, unneeded stress. But this is the weird, goofy story. And you might say, all right, so why did we go through all the fuss and just to talk about this? Did you see the most recent rustor? See, we recently had complete the sets again for the fall season, because in 2023 we've had this weird situation where we also had complete the sets back in May time. I'm not sure if this is going to continue in 2024. We shall see. But anyway, let's just focus the recent one we've had. So we, of course, had complete the sets this year, August instead of September. Not sure why that happened, but let's just continue. The main point is, right, we had complete the sets, and then we had Most Wanted, which technically is like complete the sets, but main point is it's still some very old skins. So, we didn't see Abyss Tier 2 being accepted in either of these. How unlucky. But that post-complete the sets runoff pattern seems to still be around. You see, we had the likes of High Quality Metal Tier 3 randomly being accepted, even though it was submitted 2 months before. We randomly had the Burrito Bag being accepted, even though it was submitted over a year before this current roster. We had the likes of the Ladybug cosplay boots 2.5 years ago. And then we had the Kevlar M39 4+ years ago. So what are we currently looking at right here? In this current Rustor that's recently just happened, we are seeing the same pattern that we saw last year. So now is that point where we bring up again Abyss Tier 2. Do you reckon Abyss Tier 2 this year will be exactly like Black Gold Tier 2 last year? What do you reckon? Do you reckon this potentially might be appearing next week for the final Rustor of August 2023? Or, more specifically, and let me just quickly show you the dates. So we're going to have a Rustor on August 31st. Do you reckon it's going to be accepted then? Or, if we just quickly remind ourselves, Abyss Tier 3 sold 30,000 plus at $2 and $2.49. That was quite a lot of money. That was quite a lot of revenue. Now let's just kind of get this into your heads. The first Rustor of the month potentially could be the very best Rustor. What do you mean by that? Well, you might know that in most instances, the peak player counts of the month, the very best player count, usually happens in the first week when everybody wants to play the game when it's a wipe. Well, September, of course, is just around the corner. It's not next week, but it's the week after. The first Rustor of September is going to be September 7th. I'm under the assumption that we could, but I'm kind of thinking it's not going to be next week. I don't think we're going to see Abyss Tier 2 next week, but I think Facepunch might be saving it for September 7th Rustor. The first Rustor of the month, we're expecting to have tons of people playing the game, or rather, the most people that will be playing the game in September 2023 most likely will be during that first week. And all those people playing are likely going to see the skins in the Rustor, and as you might expect, more people see the skins, more potential sales, more potential profit. So if this Abyss collection looks to be selling nicely when it's in the Rustor, don't you think Tier 2 with 3 armor pieces is going to sell just as much at around the same prices and make very good money? Well, there you go. You got it in your heads now. Strategically speaking, you might potentially see the Abyss Tier 2 being saved for the likes of September Force White Rustor. There you go. But the main point was, we are seeing the post-complete the sets runoff appearing in the following Rustors after complete the sets. So next week, are we potentially going to see some very random old, late picks appearing next week as well? I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest. And I don't think people are too upset by it. Like, just some random skins from the past that are completely out of nowhere, like the burrito bag, for example. And, Ladybug cosplay boots. This was accepted. Suddenly, everybody wants Ladybug Tier 3. And, the hoodie and pants as well. Like, all of this has progressed very nicely. And I wouldn't be surprised Emilio Frito, the skin creator, thinks, you know what? All right, okay, I feel motivated. I'll go make a version 2 of my Tier 2. Something like that. So, yeah, things are potentially looking a bit goofy. But that's Facepunch. They do some weird choices. But if that turns out to be true, it looks like it's a pattern that we're going to have to keep an eye out for forever. Complete the sets happens every single year. And, that's basically it. So, does that feel a little bit more reassuring for all you people that are invested into the likes of the Abyss collection? So if we just open this up now, as you can see here, I had this all prepared and whatnot. There's a lot of quantity on the Abyss Tier 3 on the Steam market at the moment. On average, every Rust skin would have around 100 quantity. The fact that this has over 200 is quite excessive. But a lot of people have kind of been like, I give up. I'm just going to sell mine to the highest buy order and I'm going to move on. Well, if we do see Tier 2 eventually potentially appear, this is going to spike in demand still, and it's going to go up in price. Now, my buy orders have actually picked up a couple. Not a ton, but yeah. The fact that it's now going down in price and the fact that I'm buying it at my fairly safe buy orders, I'm quite surprised by. But I'm going to keep them. Because, like I said, after all of that talk, don't you think I'd hold on? I'll hold on if you could hold on with me. So yeah, perhaps things might change. Perhaps we will see it play out exactly like Black Gold Tier 2. So sorry if that was quite a bit of a talk, but it certainly was a story time. So yeah, just have the faith and Let's see what potentially happens next week or the week after that, and we'll see how long the post complete the sets runoff will last for. Is it going to end when we begin September, or does it end next week, or does it end by the time we reach Halloween rush stores, which actually happened with the last one? So if we just quickly go back over to here again, you might notice October 13th was literally just before the Halloween rush store. So of course, yeah, it kind of like wraps up around then. But yeah, that's the really weird, goofy story of Black Gold Tier 2. And of course, that did complete the core pieces. And right now, it's selling okay, you know. All Ruskins are suffering a little bit at the moment. I mean, just go take a look at all of them. Right, guys, so that was a goofy little thing to teach you. The complete the sets runoff pattern. Let's see if that continues, and let's see if we could still potentially make a profit with the Abyss Tier 2. With that, thank you very much for watching, and catch you later. Bye.